Hello, it's Nikki. Welcome back, or if you're just joining for the first time, I'm so thrilled to have you here. Today, I want to talk about you and your services and what you're all about. And I'm going to do it in a slightly non traditional way because that's my background. I have never really had a corporate job or that sort of traditional, I guess, political way of doing things. And I always talk about the fact that most of my work, even though I'm saying this on LinkedIn, most of my work has come from a message, a conversation, an email, and somebody saying, "Can we have a chat?" So if we're just meeting for the first time, hello, hello. I am Nikki Raby and I do lots of things. So I have a portfolio career. I'm an actor, a coach, a writer, a speaker, and a podcaster. So my, I guess, income pie can look very different depending on what day it is and what reason or season or part of the year or what other stuff is going on in my life. But recently, as I've been going out and about again, one of the things that I end up doing a lot in London is visiting a lot of small businesses and farmers markets and outdoor food places. And it's really interesting, even though I don't necessarily sell physical products, it's really interesting for me to observe how I become familiar with somebody's product or service. And usually it starts with a chat. It usually starts with perhaps somebody who sells cakes and they've got a few little bits sliced up, or maybe I'll be out with one of my children and they'll say, "Oh, can we go and have a look at that situation?" Or, "I wonder what that is." There's something that draws you in. However, on the other side, there is a situation sometimes where you can meet people who immediately go into selling mode. They tell you what you need, they say what services are, they talk pricing very early on. And one of the things that happens in that instance, and this may not be for everybody, I'm just sharing my own experience, is as soon as people tell you what you need, even though they've never asked any questions or they've never had a conversation with you, it makes me want to retreat. And in fact, it makes me want to sort of skedaddle and move away and not engage, because I know from, I guess, my personality, I like to just slowly get to know what it's all about and and build a relationship. I'm going to say. So today I want to invite you to look at your content in a different way and make sure that you're having a conversation first. And what I mean by this is, absolutely sell your services, say what your hourly rate is, or describe what the service entails. But really welcome people in to, I guess, sit on your sofa and pour them a drink and have a cup of tea. Because there will be some people in your network who will absolutely be like, "Yes, let's go. Let me buy from you immediately." And that definitely happens with me sometimes. But on the other hand, there are sometimes people who are in my world and have been for a decade since I've been coaching, or for 20 years since I first trained as an actor. People who have been in my world and I've been in theirs, that haven't necessarily needed what I've had to offer. But there's always been a relationship there. And this is not a relationship that I'm building in a fake way of saying, "Oh, maybe they'll buy from me someday. This is going to be worth it. Maybe I'll do that." No, absolutely not. But it's really interesting noticing what actually, and I hate this word, but I can't really think of a better one, actually converts somebody from being an observer to being a paying customer. And I think it's very off-putting when, I guess, somebody like me is sold to a lot. And I'm a consumer, I'm always investing in myself and in my business and where I go next, and what I'm buying. And we're a family of four, so we are always looking at different markets of things that we need to buy in order to be in this world. And I'm always observing, why am I doing this? Why am I making this purchase? What convinced me to actually go with this situation? And this is when the "what are you all about" conversation, sorry, I've got a very creaky chair, what you are all about conversation comes into play. Because you might do something, you might offer something, your business might be run like many other people's. But what's going to make you really different is you, and what you bring to the table, and how you do things, and what floats your boat, and what your value system is, and what your background is, and what your story is, and why you do what you do. And this is something that has always come up for me as an actor. When you work with a director, you might not meet that director until the first day of the rehearsal. And so before that, as an actor, you have to do your homework. And that involves you making some decisions about the character and what your bit of the story is in terms of the rest of the story, and really doing your homework about that and making decisions. And I've often seen this in terms of castings as well, where casting directors are always looking for you to make some kind of decision, not just sort of turn up and do some vanilla version of the character. They want you to make a call. They want you to do something interesting, to bring something different to the table. And so I guess through this conversation, I am inviting you to do the same. I'm inviting you to really go a bit deeper into why you do what you do, and what makes your situation, your business, your model, your services unique. Why do people keep coming back to you again and again? And sometimes that can feel a bit icky, because if it's not broke, you might not want to fiddle about with it. But if you can understand and really pick up on that language about what people say, it's really going to serve you well. Because when you bring that in, you can start to bring that into your content. You can start to bring that into your about page. You can start to bring that into your elevator pitch, or what you leave somebody with at the end of a talk. Because as we go through the next few years, my belief is, and I know different people have different opinions around this, I feel like who we are in life and business, actually, the gap is getting much closer. And with all of the conversations around showing up as ourselves, being authentic, being true to ourselves, discussing mental health, work-life balance, remote working, we are finding out more and more about each other in the workplace and in the life place at the same time. And it's in the life place. Sorry, that's not very articulate, but I definitely feel like certainly my parents' generation and beyond, there may have been a point where people didn't really know what their home life situation was about. And I think much more so now that things are getting closer. And so, even though you want to have those boundaries, absolutely, I love a boundary, it's interesting as an exercise to explore who you are in life and what you can do in infusing your business with that personality. So, one of the things I guess in life that I absolutely love doing is chatting and having conversations and having friends round. And one of my favorite things to do is to sit around a big dinner table with my friends and family and share food and have conversations and sit up into the small hours of the morning if I can stay awake. Now I've had two children, but that is one of my favorite things to do. And so, how I brought that into my business, as one example, I do VIP days where we go and have really lovely food, and we sit in a really great place, and we move away from our current environment, and we don't do a Zoom in that situation. We get dressed up and we have lovely tea and coffee and a 3-course lunch and all of that jazz. And so I invite you today to, instead of just saying, oh gosh, I need to sell things, I need to put myself out there, I need to get visible, that's what people keep saying, go a bit deeper and look around your business. Don't just focus on what you're giving out. Think about the environment in which it was bred and why you do what you do. What is your why? What inspires you? And give us a bit more of that story. Again, in terms of my speaking gigs, I am always sharing analogies, because I know from the self-development world, when I've been in tricky spots or I've really needed some support or help or not understanding where my business is going next, I haven't been satisfied, rightly or wrongly, with somebody just saying, just keep going or just think positively. And that's what people would say, because I guess they couldn't tailor the information and make it bespoke in that moment. But I knew that I was always looking for a nugget of inspiration. I was looking for an analogy, I guess, or a story or something that I could hang my hat on, or that was going to bring me back. I love stories myself. And so, what I endeavor to do in my content, in my speaking gigs, when I'm explaining a concept to a client, is to go back to an analogy that's really going to resonate. Because when you do it, or when you reframe something, it tends to unlock something. Not always, of course. Sometimes people be like, yeah, I'm sort of not really sure what you mean. But sometimes you can actually physically see that gear change in a client of like, yes, 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 I know what that's about. Okay, I'm going to do it. Yes. Oh, now you've said it in that. That's the kind of thought process. So I'm going to leave that with you today. Some other resources that might be useful going forward. You can go and check out my podcast, which is the Success Pick and Mix podcast with Nikki, and it's anywhere where you listen to your podcasts. It's completely free. It hasn't got any ads on. There's 500 plus episodes on there. It's got interviews. It's got mini episodes. I'm talking about all these things that I'm talking about here. So around personal branding and pricing and marketing yourself and speaking and money and all that good stuff. In terms of my pick and mix shop, you can go there. There is a training on content, which may be really useful based on this conversation. And secondly, there's one on Let's Have a Chat. So the Let's Have a Chat one is not just about how you conduct one of those discovery calls, essentially, because I know different ways, people have different ways of doing them. But I tell you what, I love to do this work of how I can make it work for myself, because I hate a sales script. I really, really dislike it. It really frustrates me and it makes me want to run a mile. So I don't use them personally. I know vaguely how the pace or the rhythm of the conversation is going. And I guess the end result is always that you would love somebody to say, that's exactly what I need, and that sounds fantastic, let's do it, let's go for it. But it's really important that you find your way of doing it. And finally, how else can I help? You can book one-on-one sessions with me. So I have a variety of those as well. I will leave all the description in the comments. And that's it. I think that's it for now. I also have a freebie section. You can go to my website, but I'm going to leave it there. And I hopefully, I would love to hear what resonated with you, what you're going to take away from this, what this needs to look like. I actually don't have something to hand which I can show you, but a really lovely exercise that you can do is one of those mind maps that you might have done at school, where you put you or your business in the middle and you start to branch off all the information that you know about your business or the feelings around your business, and really play around what that looks like visually. And I think you might be surprised. And again, it doesn't have to be something where you're like, oh gosh, I'll do that when I've got a free day. Very few of us have a whole free day to do things. So just set your timer for 10 minutes. Get a big piece of paper, some Sharpies. I've got my big old pot here. There we go. And get scribbling. See what comes up. I would love to know how you get on. And I will speak to you soon. Bye.